Hi family, it's Famaya back at it with another bucket list item. Today we're going to talk about Tulum and the Mayan Ruins history. So the Mayan Ruins was a spiritual hub, and it was thought that no residents lived inside. It was mostly royalty and their servants, and the area used to be covered in murals. They even have a temple dedicated strictly to paintings. Some people would call that a modern art gallery, but they refer to it as a temple of paintings. The Mayans believed that in order for an artist to be deemed worthy, one must be not idly painting, but painting with a mission and a godly mission. They lined all their pyramids in the astrology because they focused so heavily on astrology, and they shaped it as a jaguar, which also coincides with the Pleiades star constellation. I found that really interesting. They were marked around the 13th and 14th century, which leaves them around 1200 to 1450 AD. Their kingdom lasts about 820 years. They're known to abandon spiritual hubs whenever they were about to get conquered. So in particular, when the Spanish came, they brought diseases, but they also brought some cutting-edge Spanish architecture, which heavily influenced the Mayan culture. The land is about 2 football fields long, and it took me about 4 hours to intentionally walk around and study each of the pyramids. So the temple was also an international trade export. The main export of the Mayan culture was vanilla, obsidian, chocolate, papaya, and pineapple. Their paint was made from charcoal, flowers, and dirt. Remnants of the red can be seen. Lime and sand was also used in a lot of their paintings. It's about 70 pesos to get in, which is about $3.50. 1,600 people can fit in this tiny little area. All of their artists were known to depict nature abstractly while increasing the human imaginations. They believed the waters around Tulum were access to the underworld, specifically the cenotes, which are exclusively in Mexico, and are traced to a meteorite that killed the dinosaurs. These humongous rocks created these huge craters of underwater fresh water, which you have access to clear, drinkable, fresh water, which is like super great for pictures, and it's crystal clear. Like, I cannot stress that enough. So they were also known to be an area where the mermaids would gather and meet up. And it makes sense because they're literally extremely deep and extremely dark, and they could scare you if you weren't, down with the get down. So in about 2012, which coincides with the Mayan calendar, and the whole world was afraid of the word 2012 because of the Mayans. That is the exact time that they roped off the temples in a conservation effort. But when you were able to enter the temples, you could still see the blood from the human sacrifices, which were mostly children, and they were an effort to give the god of rain and to prevent drought. The temple was also used as a lighthouse to guide sailors from crashing into the Great Barrier Reef, which lies just beneath the channel. And for a ship to get through, they had to depend on this lighthouse. And if the person who was working the lighthouse decided to take a day off, they would crash their ship and probably die. I don't know. Depends on how a shipwreck works out. It's pretty low that you'll survive it, but there is luck you could survive a shipwreck, but that's not what we're talking about. So anywho, when it came to the Mayan ruins, as far as the human sacrifice aspect, I definitely had to look into it, just because everything that I've heard about the Mayan ruins has been based on Hollywood movies, and Hollywood is notorious for taking Aboriginal cultures and hyping up the negative aspects of them while simultaneously forgetting all of the beauty and revolutionary aspects of this culture. So when I heard about the Mayan people sacrificing and eating people's heart outs, I definitely had to look more into it. And it's true, they would definitely rip your heart out and sacrifice it to their god. So I wouldn't make them an enemy, because they did it to their enemies as well. So as far as the rumors, they're definitely true, but I did want to look a little bit deeper into why they were eating people's hearts out. So they were world-renowned for their warrior spirit, and it took years for the Spanish to successfully conquer the Mayans. And they were well known for abandoning any of their spiritual hubs that they invested their time, energy, and artwork into. They would do it in a second, without a second thought. Cutoff game was pretty world-renowned. So the Mayans overcame foreign disease, modern warfare, while maintaining their culture for future generations. And while I was meditating out there, I began seeing a bunch of triangles going into one another. it was absolutely a trippy experience. And I definitely used the vanilla that I received on the area to like dab on my forehead and on my temples. The vanilla was known as an aphrodisiac, fragrance that pulls people in. And I think it kind of worked. So I don't believe that we should take these exports for granted.
The castle is
at
right
one
there,
point we had to travel
and
the
the queen
globe
would have had a great view.
just to be able to say that we
I don't
have
blame
some
them.
vanilla and obsidian.
Yeah,
So I hope you
where
study the Mayan
royalty would have
culture,
lived.
and I hope one day you'll be able to see the
And
ruins.
this is where their servants
It's
would have
worth
lived, where
the 60
royalty would have
pesos
lived.
or the $3.50.
And this is where their
Till
servants
next
would
time.
have lived.
Bucket list. Bye.